Most men want to form deep emotional connections with high-value women, yet many fail, often without realizing why. They chase endlessly, try to impress with grand gestures, and believe that proving their worth will win her over. But in their desperate pursuit, they unknowingly lose the very thing that would have drawn her in the first place: their essence, their composure, their self-respect. A high-value woman isn't looking for a man who bends over backward to please her. She's not impressed by flashy cars, expensive gifts, or constant flattery. What she truly desires, whether she realizes it or not, is a man with depth, self-mastery, and emotional strength. She seeks someone who can challenge her intellectually, provide stability emotionally, and remain unshaken in the face of life's inevitable chaos. But here's where most men go wrong. They believe they must control the situation, the woman, or the emotions involved. In reality, true power lies not in control, but in presence. A man who is deeply grounded in himself, who knows when to speak and when to listen, when to step forward and when to hold back, naturally commands respect. His presence alone creates an emotional connection far more powerful than any words or actions forced in desperation. History is filled with examples of powerful women who did not fall for weak men who sought validation, but rather for men of wisdom, vision, and resilience. Cleopatra, one of the most influential queens of all time, was not drawn to mere warriors. She aligned herself with leaders like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, men who carried the weight of empires on their shoulders. Eleanor Roosevelt, a force in her own right, stood beside Franklin D. Roosevelt not because of wealth or status, but because he was a man of unwavering purpose. So, how do you build an emotional relationship with a high-value woman while maintaining the principles of Stoicism? What separates the men who forge lasting connections from those who are discarded as mere entertainment? In this video, we'll uncover 5 powerful ways to create a bond that goes beyond surface attraction. We'll dive into history, psychology, and timeless wisdom to reveal the key actions that make a man truly irreplaceable. But before we continue, take a moment to support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps spread this knowledge to more men looking to elevate their lives and relationships. 1. Cultivate inner stillness, the foundation of emotional strength. Emotional strength is not about suppressing your feelings, it's about mastering them. A man who lacks control over his emotions will never inspire trust in a high-value woman. He may be ambitious, charismatic, or even physically attractive, but if his emotional state is unstable, she will sense it immediately. Instinctively, she will pull away. Why? Because emotional volatility signals weakness. A woman of substance is not looking for a man who is easily shaken by circumstances, who reacts impulsively, or who crumbles under pressure. She is drawn to a man who is steady, one who can navigate life's storms with quiet confidence. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom applies to every aspect of life, but especially to relationships. A man who cultivates inner stillness, who remains composed in moments of uncertainty, creates an emotional sanctuary for the woman in his life. Think about it. In a world of chaos, where most people react out of fear, anger, or insecurity, the man who can remain calm is a rarity. And that rarity is precisely what makes him so attractive. How do you apply this in relationships? Master your reactions. When she challenges you, when she's upset, or when she tests your patience, do not react impulsively. Pause, breathe, respond with clarity, not emotion. Embrace silence. Most men feel the need to fill every moment with words. But a man comfortable in silence radiates confidence. Sometimes, presence alone is more powerful than any words you could say. Develop emotional discipline. A woman doesn't always want you to fix her problems. She wants to feel understood. Instead of trying to control or change her emotions, just be present and listen without judgment. Consider Emperor Augustus and Livia Drusilla, one of the most influential power couples in history. Augustus, despite ruling an empire, remained emotionally steady in his marriage. Livia was drawn to his self-control and wisdom, knowing that his leadership extended beyond politics. He was a pillar of strength in their relationship. He didn't allow stress, conflicts, or external pressures to shake his foundation, and in turn, Livia saw him as an unbreakable force. A high-value woman doesn't seek a man who amplifies chaos. She seeks a man who brings her peace. She wants to be with someone whose presence alone makes her feel secure. And that security doesn't come from money, status, or words. It comes from the emotional stillness you cultivate within yourself. Master this, and you become more than just a romantic partner. You become a source of strength, a leader, and a man she deeply respects. 2. Speak less, communicate more. The power of intentional words. In a world where people speak just to be heard, the man who chooses his words with purpose stands apart. Many believe that expressing love means constantly showering a woman with compliments, validation, and grand declarations. But a truly powerful emotional connection isn't about how much you say, it's about the depth and intention behind your words. A Stoic man understands that communication is not about filling silence, nor is it about seeking reassurance. He does not talk just to gain approval or to avoid discomfort. Instead, his words are deliberate, his speech is meaningful, and his presence speaks louder than his voice. Why is this so important? Because a high-value woman doesn't just listen to your words, she feels them. She senses whether your words stem from insecurity or confidence, whether they are empty or full of substance. And she respects a man whose words are rooted in strength rather than in a need for validation. How do you communicate like a Stoic? Eliminate neediness from your words. If you find yourself asking, "Do you still love me?" or "Are you mad at me?" stop. These questions don't come from confidence, they come from fear. A strong man trusts his presence rather than constantly seeking verbal reassurance. Be precise with your compliments. Instead of generic praise like, "You're beautiful," say something that reflects deeper appreciation. "I admire the way you handle challenges with grace." This kind of compliment goes beyond appearance and speaks to her character, making her feel truly seen. Practice deep listening. One of the greatest mistakes men make is assuming a woman always wants advice. Sometimes she doesn't need you to solve her problems, she just wants to be understood. A man who listens without interrupting, without judgment, and without trying to fix everything, builds an emotional connection stronger than words alone ever could. Few relationships exemplify this principle better than Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Albert was not the most outspoken man, but when he spoke, his words carried weight. He didn't flatter Victoria with empty praise. Instead, his words reflected thoughtfulness, insight, and unwavering emotional support. It was his quiet wisdom and deep presence that made Victoria trust and respect him completely. A high-value woman doesn't fall for empty charm. She falls for a man whose words reflect confidence, purpose, and authenticity. When you learn to speak less but communicate more, your words gain power. They become something rare, something valuable, something that resonates on a level far deeper than speech. Master this, and she won't just listen to you, she will feel you. 3. Build a life of purpose, the ultimate attraction. Most men make a critical mistake in relationships. They revolve their entire existence around the woman they desire. They prioritize her above all else, making her the center of their universe. And while that may seem romantic in theory, in practice, it creates a dynamic that suffocates attraction rather than fuels it. A high-value woman does not want to be your purpose. She wants to join a man who already has one. If your happiness and identity depend entirely on her, you become a burden, not a partner. She may appreciate the attention at first, but over time, she will lose respect for a man who has no greater vision for his life. A Stoic man understands that his mission must come first. His life is not built around seeking approval, validation, or comfort. Instead, it is built around growth, discipline, and contribution. And it is precisely this commitment to something greater than himself that makes him magnetic. Why? Because a woman respects a man who is driven, ambitious, and passionate about something beyond the relationship. She admires a man who stands for something, who has a vision, a craft, a purpose that fuels him every day. That kind of man is rare, and in a world where most men lose themselves in relationships, he stands out effortlessly. How do you build a life of purpose? Develop your skills and knowledge. A well-read, well-rounded man is infinitely more attractive than one who only seeks pleasure. Invest in learning, growth, and self-improvement. Read philosophy, master a craft, become a man of wisdom. Pursue meaningful work. Whether it's your career, a business, or a creative pursuit, having a mission beyond the relationship makes you magnetic. When you are deeply committed to something meaningful, your presence carries weight. Maintain your independence. Never abandon your goals for the sake of a relationship. A high-value woman will respect you more when you prioritize your purpose. She doesn't want a man who sacrifices his ambition. She wants a man who invites her into his world without losing himself in hers. Few figures in history embody this principle better than Leonardo da Vinci. He was not defined by his relationships, yet women admired him because of his relentless pursuit of knowledge, mastery, and innovation. His mind, his curiosity, and his unwavering dedication to his craft made him legendary. The most desirable men in history have always been those who stood for something greater than romance alone. They didn't chase women, they chased excellence, and as a result, women chased them. If you want a high-value woman to admire, respect, and desire you, never make her your sole purpose. Instead, build a life so meaningful, so driven by purpose, that she feels grateful just to be a part of it. 4. Master emotional control, the art of non-reactivity. If there's one trait that separates weak men from strong ones, it's emotional reactivity. Most men operate on impulse. They get defensive, argue, or allow their emotions to dictate their actions. But a Stoic man remains unshaken, whether in love, in conflict, or in the face of adversity. A woman of high value tests a man's emotional strength, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. She wants to know if he is truly solid in himself or if he will crumble at the first sign of difficulty. When she senses that you cannot be easily provoked, whether by her mood swings, her tests, or external stressors, she feels something she rarely experiences in most men: safety. And emotional safety is the foundation of deep connection. When a woman knows that no matter what happens, you remain composed, she trusts you, she respects you, and she sees you as a rare breed, a man who is not just physically strong, but emotionally indestructible. How do you develop this? Practice patience. When faced with an emotional situation, do not react immediately. Take a breath, pause, and choose your response wisely. A man who controls his emotions controls his life. Accept imperfection. A woman is human, she will have bad days just as you will. Your role is not to judge her emotions, but to be the steady presence that remains unchanged no matter the storm. Live by principles, not emotions. Let your actions be guided by wisdom and discipline, not fleeting feelings. When you live according to your values, nothing external can shake you from your path. Consider Socrates, the great philosopher of ancient Greece. Even when facing trial and execution, he remained composed, refusing to let fear dictate his actions. His wife, Xanthippe, was infamous for her fiery temper, yet Socrates never allowed her outbursts to disturb his inner peace. His unwavering calmness, his refusal to react emotionally, made him a man of deep emotional strength and wisdom. A high-value woman doesn't need a man who fights for dominance or reacts emotionally to every situation. She needs a man who is anchored, a man who remains unshaken regardless of the storm around him. Master this, and you won't just be respected, you will be irresistible. 5. Create mystery and depth. A man who cannot be fully owned. A relationship should never feel like a solved puzzle. The moment a woman feels she has completely figured you out, the excitement begins to fade. What separates ordinary men from extraordinary ones is not just their strength or charm, but their depth. A high-value woman is drawn to a man who is layered, complex, and continuously evolving. She wants to keep discovering new sides of him, to be intrigued by his mind, and to feel that there is always more to explore. This is why mystery and depth are not just tools of attraction, but the very essence of maintaining a passionate and meaningful connection. A Stoic man understands that he does not need to give everything away at once. He remains authentic but elusive, open yet unpredictable. He doesn't seek to be fully understood because part of his nature is to grow, to change, to become more than he was yesterday. How do you maintain this mystery? Have a private world. A man who has hobbies, passions, and personal pursuits that belong to him alone remains intriguing. Whether it's art, philosophy, martial arts, or business, your private world keeps her interested and inspired. Don't reveal everything at once. Let your personality, values, and past experiences unfold naturally over time. When you withhold certain layers of yourself, it creates a sense of curiosity and discovery. Challenge her mind. A woman remains emotionally engaged when a man stimulates her intellectually. Talk about philosophy, history, deep ideas, discussions that make her see the world differently because of you. Look at T.E. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia. He was a man of adventure, intellect, and unshakable willpower. He had a brilliant mind, but he was also deeply private. His love interests never felt they could fully possess him, and that made him unforgettable. The same applies to you. A woman should feel close to you, yet still intrigued by what lies beneath. This is how you keep passion alive. A high-value woman doesn't want a man who is completely predictable. She wants a man who keeps her on her toes emotionally and intellectually. A man who she can never fully own, but who chooses to share his world with her. Master these 5 principles, and you won't just attract a high-value woman, you'll create a connection that stands the test of time. If you found value in this message, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support allows me to continue creating content that challenges common misconceptions and brings you insights that others often overlook.